And what is going on, everyone? How have you been? Welcome back to Tim Talks Audio Friday Night Live. It's good to see you all again. There you are. You're there. You're hanging out here with me. What do we got? We got Kyle here. I saw a little bit before Music to Motion. He's checking in, but he might be here in a little bit. That's cool. EJP Entertainment. What's going on? He usually records without a click track. Cool. So you can actually help add to the stories and some of the insight as to how to do it. Now, there are different ways to do it. Today, we're just doing the kind of the one-man band thing over here. But there's been plenty of occasions where I've been in the studio with the band and we track without a click track. That's cool. You could totally do that. It adds a certain human characteristic. It adds a vibe. It adds mojo. It's actually really cool. It doesn't have to be robotic. Not that everything that's everything that's tracked to a click track is robotic. There's still lots of feel in a click track recorded song because we leave some of the imperfections in. We leave some of the things that are a little rushed, a little dragged. That's not a big deal. But doing all of the recording without a click track adds some mojo, especially when there's multiple people. It's going to be a little different today because it's just this guy, but I digress. Let's see, Dwayne's here. What's up, Dwayne? He's going to watch the replay, but that's cool, man. That's cool. Hi, Tim. Here to support the old guy. What's up, Bobs? Thanks, man. Help spread the word. It's kind of early. I was slammed with work today, so I didn't do a lot of promotions for this live stream as I sometimes do. So if you guys don't mind, I believe there's a share button probably over here somewhere. If you just want to push it to Facebook, some groups, whatever you want to do, by all means, please share it. Let's get some more people in to learn how go over some stories of tracking together without a click track, how to do it yourself, and what things to listen for, when to fix something, and when to leave it in is kind of what we're going for today. Robert Atkins, what's up, buddy? Trying to join, but I got hit with ads. Curse these ads. You can skip them in a minute. I mean, YouTube. Can't blame a guy for trying to make a little bit of YouTube money. Ben, what's going on? Houston, Texas. Greetings, Houston, Texas, and Ben, who's coming in from there. Thanks for coming in and hanging out. This is going to be kind of cool. Sorry, I've got this cushion on the chair. And I can't find my spot. Kyle posted where he could. Thank you very much, Kyle. I've loaded a session. And when I say loaded a session, I have two things on here. I've got this microphone, and you'll see it in a minute. And I've got a mix bus, because I always do stuff through a mix bus. I've got a blank session otherwise, and that's what we're going to use. I've also got... I always record stuff onto my phone just to try and get ideas out. I listened to some earlier. I picked one. We're going to go through a couple things. This guitar is probably out of tune. But essentially what we're going to do is this chord progression. We're going to go A to this C sharp. Then we're going to go down here to, this would be F sharp, or I guess it would be G flat. Oops. And then we're going to come back up here to a D, kind of minor. So that's our progression. And that's what we're going to have fun with today. We're going to do a few things. We're going to do some quick layers, I think is what we're going to do. What's up, Billy? And Secret's here. What's up, Secret? That's our progression. And honestly, what we might do is we might use this mic to record this guitar. Who knows? We can definitely do some electric guitars. I got my bass over here. I got to get some stuff out of the way to get to it. But and of course, with all of these live streams, if you guys have questions, drop them in the chat. I'll do my best to find them as quickly as I can and answer them in the best way that I can. Because I'm here for you guys. You guys want to learn? I'm happy to teach. I'm thrilled to do it, honestly. So if you guys have questions about what we're doing, how we're doing it, what I'm listening to, I try and call those things out as I'm doing it to say I hear this, but I want that. By all means, throw it in the chat. I will see it, and we'll go from there. You guys want to dive in? Yeah? All right, cool. Let's dive in. So here we go. Like I said, empty session. All you can see, where's my mouse? Here it is. All you can see is this is the track where I'm talking to you guys on. And here's my mix bus. I've got nothing else. The only thing I'm going to do is I am trying this out. This is essentially SonarWorks reference. They're now Sound ID. No big deal, right? I'm just going to throw this onto my listen bus, and I've already calibrated my thing, so I'm just going to put that on and set it and forget it. Don't care about it anymore. Now, important things. What are some important things? We might go to the drums in a little bit. I think what we're going to do is probably just like program some stuff in, because this isn't going to be to the click track. So first thing I'm going to do is turn off my snap to grid, because we're not working on a grid. I am going to change it to bars and beats and stuff like that, but the tempo doesn't matter. The quantize amount kind of doesn't matter, because we're going by feel. And that's what we're going with today. When I was just playing the progression, that's the relative tempo I'm feeling. Maybe we'll speed it up in a little bit. I don't think so, but it's going to be our relative starting point. To keep things relatively simple for now, we're going to start with electric. We're going to find a cable. I don't know why this thing is all kinds of wonky. I need that off. Need that on. I've been asking this to a lot of people, inside and outside of, just my friends group. So I'm going to ask you guys, what interfaces are you using? I'm curious. I currently have an Apollo Twin. And don't get me wrong, I like it. I think it does a really good job. It sounds good. It does have the unison preamps and everything built in, so that you can impart some sound when you're recording. There it goes. We'll play America's favorite song, the tuning song, in a few minutes. Turn that off, get this cable off of me. Yep, sounds like a guitar. But I'm curious what everybody's using as their interfaces. I see Robert Atkins is using an Mbox 2. SonarWorks reference 4 is what Music to Motion, who is back, has been using. SonarWorks has been a bane of my existence for the past 2 days. I probably should uninstall it until I finish installing software and getting hardware set up. Yeah, it's a bit of a process, especially the tuning of the scanning of your room. It's about a 20-minute process. That's what it says when you're going through it. But it does it for a reason, because you move around when you're doing stuff. I'll just do this one real quick. My head isn't always in this perfect sweet spot. I move around a little. Even if I go like this, the differences between your left and right, when you just move a little, can make a really big difference. So when you're going through the idea of SonarWorks, or Sound ID at this point, and the reference software, it's taking all that stuff into account. And it is an easy process, but it's a process. I might need to do it again, because my kids were awake. They were playing in the other room. You could hear it. Whatever. No big deal. So yeah. So we got a Mbox 2 from Robert Atkins. He really needs a new interface. Presonus Studio 192 for Music to Motion currently. And the Revelator 2. He's got the Revelator mic. He does not have the Revelator IO, which is a new product from Presonus. They're not sponsoring today's show or anything. They're just some friends of mine, and I saw the thing came out. So, let's see. Bops has a Focusrite Scarlett. Billy Morgan's got an IO Station 24C. Kyle's got a Studio 68. Cool. Let's see. Music Motion also has a Sapphire Pro 40 and a Scarlett 8i6, but he's using the 192 as his main. Matt Smith, what's up, Matt? He's got an RME Babyface. Very nice. Honestly, I'm looking at those, and I'm not necessarily looking to upgrade or anything like that. But in the relatively near future, I am probably going to be converting from a Mac primary to a PC primary. And the PC I have doesn't have Thunderbolt support. It doesn't have it on the motherboard. There's no Thunderbolt header or anything like that. So I think I need to switch over to something USB. And so I've been looking around and I've been talking to some people, which is why I ask what people have and what they're using. Let's see, Billy Morgan has an Audio Box i2 also, but he's using the I/O Station. Honestly, I think the I/O Station it's newer, obviously, than the Audio Box i2, and they did a little bit of improvements to some of the guts inside. They were putting all the other stuff in, so they replaced some bits. So yeah, I think, honestly, Billy, you're probably better off with the I/O Station. All right, let's get into doing some stuff. We'll call this, we'll call this guitar. I don't have the big mouse or my keyboard shortcuts on. We're just going to call this guitar for now. It's audio. We're just going to make one for now. It's going to be green. Input 1. Go to the mix bus. Mono. I was talking to a student the other day, and he's like, oh, when I add my tracks, I can't make them stereo. I was like, is your I/O set up right? He's like, yeah, my I/O's set up right. I was like, oh. Did you go to the drop down here? And he goes, oh, it looks so close to being part of the input that he lost it. He felt really silly. And I was like, there's no such thing as a silly question. There's no such thing as a dumb question. The dumbest question is the one you don't ask. Even if it's something that everybody knows. Wait, hey, cursor. Embiggen. There we go. Even if it's something that everybody knows, or it's a silly question like this. I ask silly questions all the time because I forget lots of things. There's our new track. And then I just got to do this so you guys can see my keyboard shortcuts. If I even do any today. So there's the A button. And we'll put the keyboard shortcuts over there. Okay, I can hear that in the room. Let's do a little adjustment and make this smaller. Latency is minimal. So that's something to kind of keep in mind when you're not tracking with a click track. You want your latency to be low because when you do a pass and then you do another pass of a different instrument or something like that, you want to be able to hear what's happening and play and react with it, and not have that latency to already be behind and then give yourself more editing and nudging of stuff that you need to do later. So I'd rather just not use any plugins or anything like that. Now, could I come over here and turn on the high Z for low latency? Honestly, probably. It's pretty good. We go into our settings here. I mean, nothing's changed here. When we check our processing, low latency, it even still says 704 samples, 14.7 milliseconds. I mean, we're still doing fine. We're underneath 10. It feels real time to me. So I'm not really going to worry about the high Z right now. Let's catch up with you guys real quick. Let's see. Robert says, I need one with 8 inputs so I can record drums. Robert, what you might need is just an interface that also has an ADAT input. And then you can get something like the Behringer ADA 8200, which is 8 pre's. Put that light pipe or ADAT into your interface, and then you actually have 10 inputs. If you're using something like that only has 2 inputs, but it has ADAT in, much like the Apollo Twin does. It has ADAT in, it doesn't have ADAT out. So this could be a 10 input interface if I pump my ADAT into this. So just things to consider. Let's see. I'm making lots of noises here, but I'm just talking to you guys because I like doing it. Are you buying a pre-built or custom? It was pre-built, but it was modified. How can I save reverse reverb in macros? Good question, Jimmy. You want to do reverse reverb as a macro. That's an interesting macro to build because you need to have, you could do it as an event effect. So if we think about what the steps are for a macro, you would probably already have your section cut. I'm going to go big here because we're not going to do it right now. But you would imagine that you already have your whatever you need to reverse already in there. Or excuse me, whatever you need to reverse already cut as its own event. So you select the event, and then you would need a macro to put an event effect on of reverb. No, sorry. You would need to reverse it, put an event effect on of reverb, render that reverb, and if you have one that you like, then you could do that, render that reverb, and then reverse it again. Those would be your steps. When you do the render, it needs a longer tail. So I don't know with all of those steps, especially when you're doing your render of the reverb tail, if you can automatically go in and say like, yes, I need an additional 2 seconds on this tail, so that you get the full whoosh, like reverse swell in of that reverb. I don't know if doing it as a macro makes the most sense. You can certainly try it though, because those would be your steps: is reverse, event effect, reverb, preset, blah 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 blah, render, reverse. You should be in business. Those would be your steps. They're very quick thinking of how to do that. Let's see. Jimmy's asking some more questions, and he's just like spamming the one. I got you, Jimmy. I think that helps you out. I hope it does. Doesn't that limit it to 44.1 though? No, ADAT, 8 channels of ADAT is supported at 48K. Once you double your ADAT speed, or excuse me, your sample rate speed, so 88.1, 96K, you lose half the bandwidth. So you on an ADA 8200 with ADAT, 44.1 is supported, 48K is supported for 8 channels in and out. When you double, if you're working in 88.1 or you're working in 96, you lose half your bandwidth, so you only get 4 channels in and out. If you double your sample rates again, so like let's say you're working in 192, 2 channels. That's all ADAT will give you is 2 channels. So, but if you need all that other stuff, you can work at a lower sample rate. Let's see. I don't have ADAT on my interface. You have SPDIF. SPDIF only gives you stereo, I believe. Ooh, I've never worked with SPDIF. I just know it exists. I've never worked with it. I think it's just stereo, which is usually why a lot of like interfaces say like, oh, this is a 4 input, but it only has 2 XLR combo jacks on it. The SPDIF they're saying, and I'm pretty sure it's like a digital 2 channel. Kyle, thank you for calling out to tag Tim Talks Audio. Thomas is here. What's up, Thomas? Bops. Ooh, hang on. There's Bops. Yeah, Scarlett, run a secondary unit via ADAT. They handles 44.1. Rate in DAW is never a big deal for me. Bops, we were talking about this on the Studio One meetup yesterday. ADAT, 8 channels in and out, can be supported for 48K as well for your sample rate. 44.1 and 48 can send and receive 8 channels in and out over ADAT. What you may have run into, though, is when you're linking multiple devices like that, you need one to generate sync clock and the other to read sync clock. It used to be called master and slave. So one is the master, where the other is the slave, but one is the generator, one is the reader. That's essentially the way you can think of it. If for some reason you're having issues, you might have both set to generate, and then they're fighting with one another. If you only have something like the Apollo Twin, and it only has an ADAT in, the ADA 8200 needs to be master clock, because the clock is sent back to the unit on the ADAT in. The ADAT into something, so out of the ADA 8200, ADAT into the Apollo Twin, that will send the clocking signal. There's no way for the universal audio to send a signal back because there's no ADAT out. You need the output of your interface to generate clock to the 8200 if that's something that you have. If you don't, and you only have an input like I do, then the other one needs to be the master clock. Cool? Cool. There's a Studio One reverse reverb macro already. Well, there you go. Matt's saying that there's already a reverse reverb macro. Cool. You're welcome, Music Motion. Yeah, the MBox 2. I got an MBox 2 when I went to audio school, and that was in the early 2000s. So you might be right that it came out in around 2003. I think I got mine in 2004 or 5. I think I still have it somewhere too. That'd be funny. Word clock. You could do word clock to clock as well, depending on, again, your interfaces. If they have the word clock in, then you need a BNC connector cable, which is essentially, it's a coax cable, and you could do that. But ADAT will send your sync clock. You don't necessarily need to use word clock. Jimmy, you're very welcome, and I appreciate you coming and hanging out. All right, we're doing lots of talking, which is great. I'm typing my Mac in the studio too. Of course I am, but it's also going to be way more mobile, and I don't have to have all of this stuff hooked up to it. All right, so we're going to wing it. We don't need the click track's not on. I'm even going to go in here and say click track, mute you. I don't need the click track at all. So I just went over here to the click track. Click track is not going to go there. So I'm not going to hear any click track at all. We are tracking without a click track. And let's do some stuff. First thing I am going to do, most important, here's my shortcut for that. Let's go to here. I do need a tuner, because this guitar is out. I'm just going to mute it so that you don't necessarily have to hear me doing this. You're going to watch me do it, but you don't necessarily have to, like, really hear me do it. I think I tuned this guitar earlier today, so it shouldn't be too far out. Come on. And then you. Get up there. Come on. All right. Close enough for jazz, right? I think we're there. FYI, I still hear it. Semi-hello, baby. You probably heard it through here. Because you're not hearing the DI sound of... and that sharp string like that. All right, what do we got? We got our tuner open. We can get rid of that. We don't necessarily need the mixer open right now. We'll make things bigger. Shift E. Maybe we'll bring the mixer back, but we'll just kind of shrink it down. All right, here's our guitar. There's the record button. All right, that's a perfect example. Ready? Really low levels. I don't care about low levels. We can always normalize it. But here's where things are going to get interesting. This is where we started to screw up. So we are going to punch in without a click track. Ooh. O turns on your punch in. Let's just check it real quick. I'm just looking for my pre-roll. It's going to be roughly 2 bars, which is a little bit... I just got to I just got to hear where we're going to record. So when I hit the record button, it gives me an idea. I'm already at this chord. So I know my relative spot, and I can listen to the relative tempo I was. And if I'm not perfect, whatever, that's fine. Modridan, what is up, Modridan? It's punk rock. Yeah. Modridan, we're recording without a click track, and we're going to layer stuff on, and we're just going to go by the feel. So right now we're just doing our first pass of guitar. Is it intentionally out of tune? You just saw me tune it. No, it's just my terrible playing. I'm bending strings as I move around. All right. You know what I'm going to do? I'm going to give myself an even more safety. That's too much. 4 bars. I just did that with the scroll wheel. You can go to there and just do the scroll wheel like up or down to increase or decrease your amount of pre-roll. And music to motion, I appreciate if you stop pointing out my bad play. Okay, there's punching in without a click track. We got pretty darn close. Pardon my language. I'm going to turn it up a little bit in here. It's probably coming relatively low to you guys because our record levels are kind of low. And that's what we're working with. Honestly, I'm cool with it. Let's go in here real quick. There's a teeny tiny little crossfade. That's fine by me. I'm actually just gonna make it a little longer. Maybe clean this up by a little bit, and we'll figure out what that is. Here we go. There. Guitar 1, done. Right? Cool. Let's move. You know what? Let's just go ahead and keep things ultra easy. We'll just go with bass. And we're gonna leave it like we're gonna leave it real easy. Oh boy, do I need to get this guitar taken a look at. I don't know why I closed this. Can you hear this one, music to motion? Huh? Can you? And when you have your tuner on your input channel, you don't have to have a channel armed for it to work. It's looking at the input. That's why I put tuners. I open up the input pane of the mixer window, and that's where I drop my tuners, straight on the input. Then nothing is getting in the way of signal to tuner. Close enough. Still a little sharp. Bring it down. Close enough. Close enough. Standard tuning, please. And we're gonna lightly finger this bass. To play it. To play it. To play it. Music to motion almost had me on that one. I see you guys lighting up the chat, which is awesome. I will get to you guys in just a second. I just want to make sure I have relative equal tension on these strings, which is why I'm going through them again. And then I'll catch up with you guys, and then we'll forget exactly what tempo we recorded this song at, and then try and throw some bass into it. How's that for a plan, huh? Because we're doing it without a click track. So while I'm talking to you guys and while I'm getting this thing ready, let's talk about advantages of recording without a click track. When I am tracking a band, and I'm talking like 2 to 3 to 4 or however many players, and let's say the drummer isn't comfortable recording to a click track, I don't care anymore. They're not comfortable recording to a click track, or they're not going for that kind of sound. I am putting all of the band members in the tracking room, and they're playing together. Maybe we go in and replace the guitars later, but there's a bunch of different things you can do. You always record a DI for all of your guitars anyway. Excuse me. I mean, I do anyhow. Even when I'm recording electric guitars, I always get a DI of my guitar in case I need to do any kind of reamping. Then I have a clean version of that same guitar. So, the drummer's all set up. The guys, the other members of the band, they're all in the room, and then they're playing with each other. You give them some kind of amp sim in their head. Maybe you're using amps and you have ISO rooms. I've done that before. Everybody goes into the drum room. You guys all play together, but your cabs, you have your amps here, but the cabs are in other rooms and they're mic'd up over there. Still keeping things isolated, but you're playing like you're practicing. And then you get the feel of the band members playing together. It's a little different because they have headphones in, and that might change things how they play. But they're still playing with each other, and they're playing to each other. It's definitely a groove that a band who either really clicks or have played together for a long time, it comes across in the recording, which is very cool. Let's catch up with you guys. Modulating click track, what's that? Nobody knows. Who needs it? It's the pre-pro. Yup, it's all about practicing your songs before you go in. He's writing for the Ramones. So close is good enough. Also, yeah, whatever. Question. So you just unsnapped from grid. You didn't change it in the song setup to not follow click. No, I didn't do anything. I just came over here, and this little guy right here, I turned that off. And then I found somewhere where there was like a break in my playing when I did my little punch in. I just found a spot where maybe I was changing a chord or just not playing. There's my punch in spot. It's close enough. And then we get the crossfade. We can always move it to adjust those boundaries later. We can do lots. We don't need a click track. You just need a little experience, really. Modulating. What a click track's a metronome. It's the same thing. In case you're actually asking what a click track is. Oh boy, here comes Secret with his random questions, but that's all right. I'm happy to answer. Let's see. Looking to get into lyric writing. You're asking the wrong person because I am terrible at lyric writing. First thing I can tell you though, write the melody and then write the lyrics. That's what sort of works for me. And even still, it's very difficult for me to get any kind of lyric because I always second guess myself. But really, words don't matter. Sounds matter. The melody matters. Any chance you have 2 to 5 music bed, harmonies, melodies, or whatever, which needs words attached, shelved, or stuck on? Maybe, Secret. Send me a message, man. Maybe I'll send you something. What kind of thing are you looking to do? So, I'm not looking or asking for credits. If it breaks... You just like, no, it's a lot of okay. He just wants some practice. Yeah, just shoot me a private message on the Discord server. Link in the description for anybody that's not a part of the Discord. Besides, I'd break you a few crumbs anyway. Yeah, maybe. I don't know. Maybe. We'll see. That's the voice I came up with. Sure, whatever. I tried to record a piano stuff. For practice not snap to grid, it messed all sounds nothing like I played it. Maybe you're just being too hard on yourself, Robert. But bingo, glad I caught you tonight. Bet I'll learn something. I hope. Well, this is really, yes, of course, ask your questions. I hope you guys do learn something, even when you're tracking without a click track. But when you're tracking without a click track, it's about feel at that point. It's about the groove and the mojo. Now, it's just me, and we were just talking about how if it's a band or if I had a buddy, we'd be playing together, and maybe we would practice a couple times before we hit record. I'm just going for it this time for the sake of time, honestly. And that's why it's also, How long is this? Let me just take a quick look. It's a little over a minute long. We're just getting the idea out there. Maybe we'll pitch this to a commercial. Who knows? Music in motion. Let's pitch this to a commercial. Some notes sound rushed, some notes not, but definitely not like I played it at all. Maybe it is. Just saying. But then the groove is there, and that's what's going on. The Secret's here to do work. If anybody needs anything, reach out to Secret. That's kind of cool. I like that. Yes. Yeah, we have weird. Yes, it's a click track. It's a metronome. It's a timekeeper. It's just that annoying. But yes, sorry for the confusion. Let's see, Matt. Let's get back to the content. Yes. Let's get back to it. All right. Let's try and remember what we did. Here's our bass. We're just going to go with roots because root notes are fine. Noisy pot. Nope. I'm gonna leave tone all the way down. I want this to be like real soft. That's what I'm feeling now. I mean, what I should have done is given myself a little bit of a hint of what I was going for, but I didn't. So let's go anyway. Oh goodness, here it comes. Okay, so there's a really good example of how to forget to play your song. You heard there's timing discrepancies all over the place, wrong notes, obviously, because I forgot what I was playing. But I'm trying to get into the groove. I'm trying to just feel what's going on. And I know what the changes, or at least I'm going to say that I know what the changes are supposed to be and where I'm supposed to go. So really, I'm just trying to lock in with my previous self. Let's do it again. Oh God, and right now I'm just visually looking, trying to guess it. I'm just gonna stop again, because I'm thinking too much. Stop thinking. Take your mind out of it. Meh. Oh God, here's the worst part, the anticipation. You can hear, especially in like this area here, I speed up a fair amount, honestly. But it's not terrible. It's not that bad. You know, we can always go in, and because we're working on bass here, we'll make it real big. With bass, and I'll just make it a little bit bigger here as well. Like there's, you know, I'm purposely playing it where I'm going. I'm putting those little stops in so I can see what's going on here. There's like a stop right here that shouldn't be, but here's a nice one. Maybe I can fly this over. So let's do exactly that. We'll take this guy. We'll do Option X or Alt X on a PC. And we're going to hold down the same key and just drag it over and zoop. Honestly, it's about the same. But maybe we could just put that there. Put a little cut here. Slide that cut over. I'm doing way too much. I'm thinking too much about it. Let's put that back. I want to get rid of that. And then bring this over to there and bring that over to there. So even without, no click track. We're editing without a click track. I'm a madman. There's that one. There's a little bit there. But because we're in a stop, we can just kind of clean it up like this. And then this little crossover here, zoop, tiny little crossfade, and let's find, there's a decent spot right there. Solo. Solo, yes, you can still hear me. Okay, so I was going visually, and I should have listened to what I did first, because that's most important. Oops, redo that recording. Save this, why not? Get that solo out of there. Let's catch up with you guys real quick. Is that Ziggy? Hey, Ziggy, what's going on? I dare you to look at your description and show me where your Discord link is. Music to motion. Music to motion. Hang on. Music to motion. Put it in the chat because you, sir, win a cookie. You do. You win a cookie. I'm sorry. I know how to admit when I'm wrong. And I'm wrong. This time. But Music to Motion is going to drop a link to the Discord in the chat. So feel free to join the Discord. Let's see. Robert Atkins just got a new bass not too long ago. Yamaha 304. Nice. Candy Apple Red. Can't go wrong. Me. Classic black and white kind of guy. At least from my basses anyway. My bass, singular. I only have one. Babinga, I had a question about click tracks. If I'm playing drums to a drumless track, but the click track strays away from the tune, especially older tunes, is there a simple way to get a click true to the tune? Babinga, I have a video about how to create a tempo map to something that was recorded without a click. So I do have... yes, there is a way to do it. It is a tedious process because there's no like automatic way to do it, especially for like older songs that you're trying to do drum covers to, or something like this where, you know, you're just tracking what's coming into your head and how you feel it. It's a process, but it is doable. I have a video. Just look up how to create a tempo map, and then the video from me should pop up. You have both been messaged. Sacred is reaching out over the Discord. Tempo mapping, yes, exactly. Music to motion. Look up tutorials using tempo mapping in Studio One, and Melodyne can assist with that. Melodyne can actually help you with that a bit. I also have a video showing how to detect tempo with Melodyne as well. I'm going to try and mess with the piano again to see how it sounds. Maybe it's a latency issue, but I didn't hear any latency while playing. I'm doing it through MIDI. See if I'm still off. Ziggy, that was out of tune. Yes, Ziggy, this is the idea, not the tuning. Yeah. Also, I yelled at Music to Motion. Stop pointing out my bad playing. Let's see. Thinks it's intentional. I'll make you guys intentional. I don't know. This could be a lovely soft ballad. So many harmonics, vocal backup to either pads or strings, with a driving resonant percussion through, something to cut through. It darn pretty. Yeah, I like this little progression. D flat if you want to. I guess it would be C sharp. Whatever. Same note. A, C sharp, F sharp, D. That's what I'm going for. It's an A major, I think. Doesn't matter. Typical from what I normally hear from Tim Talks Audio, but was November Rain, Guns N' Roses, I suppose. Yeah, man, I play all kinds of different things. Usually I'm the rock guy. I get it. I'm usually the rock guy. But rock guys have hearts too, sometimes. Not this one. It's cold, empty, hollow zone. Boop, boop, boop. Just catching up with you guys. Okay, so let's listen to what we did. Get the idea, but you heard right in this section here, that's where my little speed up happened. Did it sound bad? Maybe. Did it have personality? Yeah, it did. Acoustic. Let's go with an acoustic. Ready for this? Input 2. Mix bus. This will be interesting because it's this mic that we're going to use. Let's see what happens. And acoustics are kind of like this, kind of like greenish. Oh God. All right, I'm nervous. I'm going to turn it down. Okay. All right. Yeah. Come down here, buddy. Oh, ready? You can do this. Ooh. I have stuff going on the channel, but you know what? We're gonna commit to it, because why not? That's why. It's also showing you the limitations that I have with just a 2-input thing. Had I had something with more inputs, I probably would have just grabbed a microphone and plugged it into a different input earlier today. But for the examples, we're just kind of going through it right now. Let's see. No amp recordings, not today, Mojidin. Also, the family's asleep upstairs. Let's see. I saw that vid and I wasn't sure if I was getting it or. Okay, not to answer a hoped for. Before I ask next, do you have any experience recording drums using the John Glenn's technique? I've used it once, I think, and I think it was in school where I used the John Glenn's. When you're limited on the microphones you have, it's definitely a good option. So. Aren't hearts what they sell at the butcher shop for supper? Yeah, pretty sure. Yes, of course you hear everything music commotion. Stop it. I'm so done with this song. All right, Kyle, calm down. You want to slap a cowbell in there and call it done? No, we're adding layers. All right. Ready for this chain? It's going tuner, and then this is my usual chain. So like you can see, I have some in. So I'm going to commit any kind of compression. So this is the compression that I have going for you guys. But when we go down here, getting a little bit, so that's fine. All right, ready? Let's do a thing. Maybe I should use headphones because we're recording acoustic. I should probably use headphones. Turn my speakers off and try and make it semi good sounding. They're open backs, and it's fine. It doesn't bother me. All right, no click. Oh. I just thought of something hilarious. Ready for this, tuner? This compressor at the end here, the reason I'm getting so little signal, it's sidechained from my mix bus. Well, I can turn it on and I'll just bypass it. So essentially, usually when I'm talking to you guys, when I play something, it sidechain compresses this mic so that you don't hear double. Yeah. Silly. Yes, there's the kind of signal that we're looking for. You know, we're getting it's much louder than the others. I'm just going to clip gain it down to kind of visually match the others. Get up here. That's why you should be up here. Compressor back on. This way when we hit play and stuff. Because we don't need this anymore. We can get that out of there. We can turn that off. Because I don't need to hear it. And then we can kind of blend it in once I turn the speakers back on and all that other stuff. You may have not heard it in the mix all that well because it was low. Ah, clink, clank, clunk. It was going to the main as well. It should have been going to the mix bus. Oh, it did that thing because it was going with the input. Let's change that to there, and maybe now it can go to the mix there. Okay, yeah. All right, here's our guy. Let's listen. Rewind a little. Here comes the best part. See, that's how you know it's live. If you do that at the end and none of them line up, of course it's live. So, little stereo spread, push the electrics to the left, acoustics to the right, bass up the center. Cool, now we've got something. At this point, I could throw in some drums and kind of feel it from there. Let's do something like that. Let's go ahead and throw in, why not? We'll put an impact in here and we'll just kind of pull open some preset. Something that sounds like regular drums. I think where's the tom? Here. Roomy Rocket. Okay, let's do some quick routing because all these guys, you guys all got to go. Nope. You all got to go to mix bus. So that goes to you guys and you can actually hear it. Right? Because you should be able to hear it. Yes, you should. All right, so. Ew, that's gross. Never mind. I hit roomy. Okay, jazz kit. Gross. Pop rock kit. I mean, I could trim these down, but I just want this to be like real quick. They're better. I don't know what the hell that is. So there we go. I think we got something close. And then what can I use to make this easier on myself? Why don't I just use this? Let's see, I need to change this to go to my QWERTY. And bring my QWERTY back up. Where are you? QWERTY. Why are you not triggering? Velocity 80, that's on. You should be targeted to that. Hang on, that's why. Huh. Oh, B. Why are you B? Never mind, QWERTY keyboard doesn't want to work right now. That's so weird. All right, we'll do it the old-fashioned way. That's fine by me. Impact. Okay, whatever. Gonna run out of space on this there thing. All right. Here's our drums. We're gonna go with like that. And honestly, we can just kind of guess. But this is, oh, is that what it was? I forgot to turn on that. But even, oh yeah, there we go. Just bring that velocity down to like 50. We can adjust velocities and stuff later. And really, I'm just going to go with kick drum and snare drum right now, and then I'll put hi-hats and stuff in a little bit. And we have to do full passes because, oops, we do have to do full passes because we're going by the groove of the song. So here we go. There you go. And that crashes a bit much, but all right. And then the only thing I want to check is to make sure that my merge instrument loop record. No. We just want to make sure that record replace. No, we don't want to replace. We want to merge. So we want to make sure that replace is off. So when we hit record on our drums again, and we do our, and the double starts coming through, because hi-hats, electronic hi-hats, blech. All right, let's see. I'm just gonna fast forward, or not. And there we go. We've recorded our drums, and because we didn't have replace on, it just merged all of that MIDI into there. We did not have input quantize on, which is this little IQ button up here, because we're not locking to the grid. We're locking to, or doing our best to lock to our performance here. We did it with the QWERTY keyboard. I could have turned on the electronic drums and gotten everything done in one pass. Probably would have made way more sense and the groove would have been there more. But because we're using MIDI, we can always go in and just kind of adjust these hits in here that much better. So like, here's the human element. Let's increase it. Here's my crash on, you know, I don't even know what that's beat. That's the end of beat 2 of bar 4, and my kick drum is way ahead of it. So I was behind and I hesitated. But the feel is there. So the only thing I want to do now is I want to actually grab all of my drums. And I'm not going to humanize. I am going to humanize. I'm going to go in. I'm going to hit humanize. But I'm going to humanize the velocities because we program them in. We just use the QWERTY keyboard, which doesn't really have any velocity settings. And I just want to vary the velocities. And now it has a little bit more feel because the velocities are different. It's not the same hit every single time. It's a little bit harder here and there. And just for good measures, we'll go in and we'll do it again just to vary it that much more. And then Shift Q is, it shouldn't have done anything, but the, you know, if you quantize, if you do Shift Q, it's restore timing. So if your humanize actually did have some timing things set in it and you forgot, you can hit Shift Q and it puts it back to where you performed it. Masterwriter.com. No. Let's see. Yes, thank you, Billy, Arm the Track. It was the Arm the Track and listen to the track, the monitoring. That was the QWERTY keyboard. But thank you, Don, and thank you, Billy. You guys are going to be doing a midnight bar after the show. Awesome. Thank you for dropping the link to the midnight bar in the chat. If you guys want to go hang out and talk one-on-one with a whole bunch of really cool people, you can go ahead and join the midnight bar. And it's just talking about whatever. Quantize. No, we are not going to quantize. I wish I had one of the pairs of headphone monitors I'm aiming at. Part of me wants to tinker in the mix with this too. Yeah, all of the 6s across the screen. Yes, that's because we were using QWERTY keyboard, and that's where the hi-hat was. And so now I guess we can listen again, right? But now, you know, if we were going to come back with more things to add on top of here, we now have drums, and we have a little bit more sense of timing. Oh, let's do a quick edit. Let's get this out of here. Mute. Shift M does your mute of your events. Because if you do like Control M or Command M, you'll open up Melodyne, and that's not what I want at all. So cut my events. So like these guys right here. I don't need any of this stuff here. I was holding down Shift to multi-select, hold Shift, hit M, mute the event. There it is. Job done. Now I can grab these guys and just give them a little fade in. Nice and clean. We did our crossfade and our punch in before, and I'm not worried about the ends because we'll clean that up, or we'll just do a nice fade out before all of the... All right. Here comes a moment of truth. was. I was just looking over and I saw Robert Atkins had input quantize on when he was performing his piano piece. So it was quantizing his performance to the grid, even though he wasn't playing to the grid. It'll do it every time because it is trying to quantize your performance. That's why I didn't put it on here. And, you know, I could manually go in and start lining things up, which would be a bit of a pain. But I could, because like I can just grab this and when I turn snap off here, and I could really like get fine tune in and just really like lock these things in, locate to that, zoom way in. And now I know that hi-hat is dead on. Would I really need to do this? No, but you know, I could probably go in and adjust a number of these hi-hats. Like a couple of these first ones are a little rushed, so let's just slow them down a little. So a lot of these are rushed, but it's fine. We're close. We're just getting the idea out there. Again, if you're recording a band as a client or you have some friends over, you're all playing together anyway, so you're hearing one another and you're reacting in real time. This is me reacting to previous me, reacting to previous me, reacting to previous me, reacting to previous me. This is even though it's 4 tracks, it's 5 takes essentially, because we started with our main guitar here, then we did bass, then we did acoustic guitar, and then we did 2 passes of drums to get our hi-hat, our kicks and snares, that we did those at the same time, and then our hi-hats. Now I probably could have used 2 hands when we were doing our QWERTY keyboard drums, but I was lazy and I didn't. Music to Motion likes the click track stuff better. Good for you. Boop, 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 boop. I'm just catching up with everybody. Boop, boop, boop. No, Robert, for the input quantize and stuff like that, it's the exact same for, or at least it's, to my knowledge, it's the same between version 4 and version 5. You should have just like your little IQ button up on top in the center, and that's the input quantize button. And if you're doing freehand stuff like we're doing here, you want to make sure that that is off. And then I turned off snap to grid, which is for like all of our editing and all the stuff that we're sliding around here. And I did the same thing in the MIDI editor. I turned off the snap to grid down there. Boo doo doo doo. Yes, Music in Motion. Go ahead and drop the link for the Midnight Bar into the Discord server as well for anybody that's over there and wants to join. Just notice input quantize wasn't activated on yours either. Mine was activated, which is why it wasn't working like I intended. I was still quantizing horribly at that. Yes, because it was quantizing to a grid that you weren't playing to. And Music to Motion likes click track stuff. Yep, gotta run to the bathroom. Sakrit, that's cool, man. Do your thing. If you wrap up before I get back, have a great weekend. Remember to pawn off your unhoarded musicals to me. Like some kind of intern. You got it, Sakrit. I will send you some stuff, you know, and maybe we'll do some things. It's great because I can do pre-pro now. A lot of time I just want to jot down ideas. Yeah, and you know, sometimes you just need to get the ideas out of you. That's why, you know, I mean, you guys know me. I'm more of like a rock kind of guy. So I just grab my phone, I put on voice messenger or voice memo, and I just get the ideas out of my head that way. I just record it there. Usually on those memos, though, whenever I start with something, I'll give myself a relative idea of the speed of the song. So I'll just kind of go. But always with those, I just give myself that little. whatever. Oh, that's kind of cool. Uh-oh. Get the voice memo out. If only I had some way to record myself. Wait a second. On the phone, I hear you guys. You guys are smart. I should have gotten to class on time. I'm confused. Is the goal to get everything in time? No, that's not the goal. The goal is to have everything close enough to the other elements that are in here. Like I said, it's me trying to line up with me, so things are going to be off. When working with other musicians, maybe you have a little home studio in your garage, your friends come over, you play some stuff. You don't need a click track for that. You just throw it all together and you hit record and you go and you have your fun. And you'll hear, the fluctuations, but the fluctuations in tempo are not necessarily a bad thing. I keep coming back to this section here where I speed up. But if we go back and listen to it, not terrible. Then at this point, we can go in. Well, maybe we'll throw on Empire, and we'll give this electric guitar a little bit of a sound, and we'll go clean, and maybe rehearsal fun. That's exactly what I want. Oh God, I don't know how this is gonna sound. There you go, quick little Empire, little bass sounds. Do the same thing over here on our bass guitar, and then we'll just kind of pull open some kind of bass preset real quick. Bass guitar, there you go. Hit play again. There you go. A little reverb, little amp sim, some electronic drums. You got yourself a song. Is it perfect? No. Does it have groove? Questionable. But it can be done. And you can go in and you can edit. And you can punch things in and you can fly stuff around. At this point, if you're doing any kind of editing, it is more visual. You need to kind of line things up visually because you can't go, oh, this bar was wrong. Let me fly over here. Click, click, click. There's that bar. Fly it over. Job done. This is, yes, you can still fly things over from later in the song, earlier in the song, but it's a little bit more fine-tuned. You need to go in and be like, okay, well, here's the old one. Let me find where the note actually hits, and I'll find exactly what I need to, or move the events to line up with the previous version to kind of line things up a little bit easier for you. Robert, no, we already read that. I would love to figure it out if I hadn't come in here trying to troubleshoot where I was going wrong. See? Robert learned something. Input quantize. You got to watch out for that. If you're doing stuff like this, you would definitely want to turn that off. Unless you're using the click track, then maybe turn it on, and then you'll be perfect. You'll be a robot. Like me. Anything's possible. Absolutely it is. I think we're getting ready to wrap up. You can see. You can do it. We'll talk about this in a second. If you guys have questions, by all means, throw them into the chat. Let me know. I'll do my best to answer them, as I've said before. But you can see. We recorded something very simple, about a minute long, a little bit, I think it was a minute 10, whatever. No click track. No click track at all. We're going by feel. I didn't give myself a little count in. I should have. If I was going to redo anything, it would have been that, to give myself a relative idea of like, okay, I'm about to start, and just a little pick scratch. Give yourself a little bit of reference to get started, and then you kind of go with the feel. When you're working or playing with your friends or your bands or your artist clients, your artists come into your studio. If they're not comfortable using a click track, cool. No problem, man. Everybody get together. Go hang out. Go rehearse. Let's put all your stuff together. Let's mic everybody up, or DI for the guitars and just throw an amp sim or something on there. Get them all playing together and let them play with each other and to each other. You can still do it. The weird thing is when you're recording a band like that, and let's say you're trying to record something for an album, then you have to be very meticulous with your punch-ins and your punch-outs for like your drums, because you need to give yourself a bit more lead time so the drummer can lock back into their original groove. And essentially what I would say is when you punch in, you finish the song from there. You do another whole take. Everybody finishes the song from wherever your punch-in point is, because to go in and out, that's going to get real hairy if you're not using a click track. But if you just punch in at a point like, oh man, Mike, the drummer, of course, messed up verse 2. Okay, cool. We're going to listen to chorus 1. You guys are going to play along with chorus 1. I'm going to drop you in partly in chorus 1, and then by the time we get to verse 2, you guys have your new locked tempo, and you're going to finish the song out from there. Oh, we did it again, but verse 2 sounds really good, pre-chorus 2 sounds really good, chorus 2 sounds really good, but we messed up the bridge. Okay, let's do it again. You just kind of roll back a little bit, play it, get your pre-roll in, get the groove back in, and then punch the rest of the song, because you're not going to be able to punch out and it line up. There's no point. But you can go in and you can punch in to try and re-lock into a new groove. So the Midnight Bar will start after the show. Yeah, so if anybody wants to, there's a link in the chat to go join the Midnight Bar. The room is open now. Grab a drink, head over to the bar, say hey to all the people that are over there. I might drop in for a couple minutes, but it's kind of late, and I have a very busy day tomorrow. Got a very busy weekend. I've got a very busy month, what am I saying? But I'll try and drop in and say hey to everybody. So, Secret's here just in time for the goodbyes. Oh, he's got a question. All right. Also, let me just check with everybody if there are other questions. So, Robert, you're welcome for another fun session. I'm glad you learned something. I would have started with drums first and then get them sounding fairly in time, then bass, then add guitars. It helps align things together better. Yeah, I didn't know what I wanted the drums to sound like, though. So I started with the guitar groove that I had, and we built around that. But there's plenty of ways to handle it. The only downside, if you are doing time-based effects, you will have to guess when it is not quantized. Yes, but again, that could play into the feel of whatever you're doing, where you can kind of mess around with the milliseconds for like your delays or your reverbs, and kind of automate that around to float around or be a little out of time, and again have its own groove and its own performance within your non-locked to the grid song. Yes, Music Emotion, I'll try and drop into the bar and just say hey. Almost forgot something. Sekret is typing up his question furiously. I know he is. I can just see his little fingers go trying to get it down there. Brian King, what's going on? Brian, you showed up at the end of the show, bud, but it's a pleasure seeing you here. Thanks for coming and hanging out. I'm just waiting for Sekret's question. There it is. Okay. I may be recording people within 2 months. Good for you. That's awesome, man. Does it make sense if I monitor into compression so that they can record clean and within a range of dynamic, or should I only use compression if I'll print it? Now, Sekret, I'll ask you, are you talking compression for you to listen to, like mix bus stuff, or are you talking like somebody's going to come in, they're going to record some vocals, I'm going to take my preamp and I'm going to put it into a compressor and have it do a little bit of compression before it even hits Studio One or whatever interface or DAW you're using? That's the question. Because if you're just listening to it, like, you know, you're throwing a mix bus compressor on or just a channel compressor to get an idea of what it sounds like, go for it, man. When you're doing it on the mixer, like over here, if you're doing it on the mixer over here, it's not committing the sound. But if you have like an outboard compressor and you're putting your mic after the preamp into the compressor and you're committing it, the vocalists, if you're going to commit the sound with compression either on the input as we do in Studio One, or oddly enough, my Apollo kind of died, but backup microphone. And so I should be back now. You guys should be able to hear me. Might be a little quieter. I'll make some adjustments. What was I saying? Sekret, if you have an outboard compressor and you're doing some stuff and you're committing your compression on the way in, so microphone to preamp, preamp to compressor, compressor to interface, go easy on your compression because you can't undo that compression later. You can, but if you're questioning it, you know, if you really need that compression to get the sounds that the artist wants, the sound that you want, just go easy because you can always add more compression later. When you're tracking on the way in, you're committing that sound, and I like committing a sound. You know, so I tell my clients or my artists, you know, if this thing makes your sound, print it. That's the way I want to hear it. Let's record it like that because that's the way you want to hear it. This is your thing. You want to hear it this way. With things like compression, you just be a little bit more careful because you don't want to like completely squash it, or maybe you do, and you can just do that later with plug-in compressors. If you're just looking for like a little bit of squeeze, make sure that you're not like hitting too loud or anything like that. Then you can do a little bit. But if you're tracking with compression, I would suggest like no more than 3 dB of compression. You really just want to be kissing that needle. You can do your compression later, man. I wouldn't worry too much about it in the tracking phase. I think that's it. I think just put an L1 and bring up the volume. Yeah. Slap an L1 on there. There you go. All right. That's what we're going to call it. Have a great night. Go ahead and go over and join the Midnight Bar. The link is in the chat. So if you guys don't see it already, you guys can just scroll up a little and go join the Midnight Bar. You need to do this. There. Now I'm sitting more comfortably. Thank you for coming out for another Friday Night Live. Go ahead and join the Discord server. There's a link in the chat for that. Thank you for being a subscriber if you're a subscriber. If not, feel free to subscribe. Thank you for your time. Have a great weekend, and I will see you soon. Where's the button? I forgot how to do this thing. Whose show is this? Is it your show? It's my show.